This is actually really exciting. This is a brand new development. Ben is now an employee here at the Royal Pacific Resort. Congratulations, Ben.
Thank you. Got this shirt.
Why are you wearing that?
Huh?
Why are you wearing that?
Because I saw it in the gift shop, and I was like, hey. So I decided to buy it.
I thought you were like, now that Harry Potter's done, I need a new job. I know. I'll just live next to Hogwarts.
Well, all of my Mugglecast shirts, you know, I had a steady diet of Mugglecast shirts for a long period of time, and they're all like, the logo's all worn down and everything,
So just before, we should ask about cheat codes, because everybody's like, oh my god, this is a video game, this is a video game. Okay, here's another comment about Pottermore. What's your name?
My name's...
No, but I think the whole point of Pottermore is that you do have to explore. So you are going to have to go through it, of course, unless people actually copy and paste the info. Did anyone get a good look at the new stuff on the screen? Because it went by so fast.
I looked at some of it.
What's that?
I looked at some of it.
McGonagall was particularly interesting. I was hoping to see the new experiences. Yeah. So the Chamber of Secrets experience will be coming out next year. Sorcerer's Stone obviously being the one that comes out this year.
I read up there that said, welcome to Hufflepuff, hope you enjoy Quidditch, because we haven't been that great over the years, so... I don't know, who knows?
Maybe like a metaphor for life. Something like that. How would that go? I don't know. There's something about choices and... How does that go? How does that go? It's all choices.
Next question.
Is there going to be like a leaderboard, like where it's like, oh, this person is our #1 fan?
Well, you're supposed to be a student, so I don't think they would call you a fan. You would just be a student. But I remember on the graphic up on one of the slides up here, they did show a little leaderboard. I think on the house pages.
You yourself, you would know what house you actually are, and I think that so many people are in denial about their house. Like, you can't just pick your own house. Like, that's not how it works. You know,
Harry did.
Okay,
Harry suggested it.
and he would have done well in Slytherin and all that, but...
Eric, are you going to buy new robes if you don't get into Gryffindor?
I might. I also have a Cedric Diggory outfit, so it's at least 2 of the houses covered, so...
I think Joe's corrupted us because everybody's like back when I first read the books, everyone I talked to claimed to be a Gryffindor. You know, just because Harry was a Gryffindor. And I think there needs to be more house diversity. And I think if you get sorted into another house, like, you know, don't close out your account and like retake the test to get into the house you want to be in. Just like accept it.
Yeah, he stressed that there was only one chance of this, so it seems like they've had that decision made for quite some time, that, you know, like it or not, it is going to be in some ways definitive, and by the only person who can make it definitive, J.K. Rowling herself. But the other thing is that the books are slanted, that they show more Gryffindors. So when he did say that we'd learn more about Hufflepuff, perhaps if, you know, I take the quiz and I'm disappointed a little bit at being sorted into Hufflepuff, Hufflepuff actually has the most new content. So to look at it, you know, that way, and I'd learn a little bit more about it and maybe understand a little bit better why I was chosen for that house.
Oh yeah, there will definitely be cease and desist.
I kind of figured that there would be, but I was just wondering like how we're all going to be able to find out, like she said, you know, the information. Yeah, like the other houses, because I mean, there's going to be so much information that we're never going to find out, because the accounts are going to be locked to where you can only get one house unless you want to share it.
You know, with the internet these days, the stuff is everywhere.
Yeah, people will find a way.
Yeah, I mean, and we'd love to post it on Mugglecast, and they'll probably be like, haha, no, take it down. But yeah, it'll always be there. You know, with leaks these days, like when
Anybody cry? Raise your hand if you cry.
I want to talk about that first, and this is gonna upset some people. But I've heard numerous complaints about the sobbing.
What?
The sobbing. The people crying. It was so loud, right?
Let's recount our experience.
Listen, I shed a single tear. But I was also reaching over a bin, consoling someone else. So it was like I was taking care of someone else, and then it was a big ordeal. It was just like, listen, I'm not complaining about the sobbing, but I've heard from an alarming amount of people who are actually annoyed at people crying.
Well, I mean, they kind of started off the film with a double whammy. It's like, here lies Dobby, free elf, and then Harry's like looking at the mirror, and it's like, wow, this sucks.
Yeah. So,
It's like
the duel. What's that song called? The Dueling Banjos. You know?
Yeah.
What are you gonna say?
No, it's like you're preparing yourself. You know the moment's coming when the scene's going to show up, and you're trying to say how much are people going to cry? You know, what are they going to do?
Yeah. Somebody told me like there was somebody crying even just before Snape died because they knew what was going to happen, so they were like preparing themselves. You know, like when you're about to go over Splash Mountain, you just start screaming at the time. At least that's what I do. I don't know if everybody else does that. That feels bad.
I mean, I kind of little bit lost it when, you know, he's all talking to his dead parents and stuff. Like when I read the book, that scene like really resonated with me. But yeah, I mean, when that happened, I was like, whoa, this got real. And what surprised me was how quickly. It didn't surprise me like this was part 2, but like they just went right into the action. You know,
yep.
There was no messing around, which I thought was awesome.
Princess Tale, I think. Is that generally everybody's favorite scene? A comment, we'll get to them all. We'll get to them all. A comment a lot of people I've been hearing, and Melissa brought up on the Leaky Mug yesterday, was that Alan Rickman deserves an Oscar for best supporting actor. And it's deservedly so, because in other films you kind of see Alan or Snape as, you know, the way he is a great Snape, but you really don't see any emotion out of him until this one, and I think it really struck people, and that's why now they're saying, you know, Snape, or Alan Rickman, best supporting actor. When you guys, she walks out onto the steps and says, do teach to the school. Yeah. Oh, we're fighting Snape too. Yeah. Personally, my favorite was the moment when she walks out and brings the statues to life. I mean, that was great, and that was another one of those applause cues where everybody really applauded.
What did you think of
that? I didn't like when she said, "Oh, I've always wanted to do that spell," just because as somebody who's she's an older witch and she's just doing the spell now for her first time. I mean, granted, okay, this may be like the first battle where she has to bring the statues to life, but she's never brought statues to life before. I don't know. It was just a moment of comic relief that I felt wasn't needed because she just delivered these really badass lines, and then she has to do this little joke.
Well, maybe Dumbledore used to be the one who activated all the statues and stuff, and he never let her do it because it was his thing. So now she's like, finally.
Well, because Snape and Draco and Voldemort are hugging. It was just, but you know what I thought about that? I may have brought this up yesterday with somebody. Voldemort was so good in this film because Ralph Fiennes kind of pulled off like this Joker from The Dark Knight, where he's so evil, but also crazy and just silly, and moments like that. And then there's also a moment, I think a little before that, where Voldemort makes a little noise. He just goes like, annoyed by Matt Lewis. Sorry. Because it just sort of comes out of nowhere. It's like suddenly he's the hero. And I know in the book you understand it more, but I don't know. Maybe I just don't like Matt Lewis. Sorry.
I mean, somebody had to do it.
Somebody had to do it. Yeah, I mean, it was great. Everybody loved it. Everybody got all fired up, so. That giant scream.
It was more of like, not my daughter. Like, it was like really slow and kind of deliberate.
Yeah. They did the same thing in the first book with Hagrid. There's a line in the trailer, "Why do you live? Because I have something to live for." And he said they decided to cut it out because Voldemort would kill Harry in that moment. You know, he's holding him by the clutches, and so he decided to cut it out for that reason. But then that made me think, well, this scene still bothers me so much when Harry pulls Voldemort over the cliff. It's not in the book at all. Voldemort would just kill him. And they don't touch each other. That's what bothered me about it. Harry and Voldemort never physically touch each other.
But get into King's Cross.
It was shocking because it's this beautiful white, clean King's Cross in the words of Harry, and then there's just this cut to this disgusting fetus under the bench, and it was striking, and everybody in the theater went, "Oh!" But you know, great they included it. It's in the book, so.
Watching part of the movie in like the fuzzy 2D version because of that.
I had an awkward moment at the beginning of my screening where I put on my glasses and I turned to my friend Kevin And I'm like, the 3D is not working. Is it not working for you? And he's like, you're wearing your sunglasses. My sunglasses, hoping some of those things would come through because last movie, you want to see some nice references. And we did get some references to the score too. Hedwig's theme, Leaving Hogwarts. And I think one from Nicholas Hooper. Dumbledore's Farewell. Thank you, Tom. Yeah. Thank you.
They didn't really beat anybody over the head with it. You know, Voldemort's wand flew to Harry, he caught it, and Voldemort disintegrated because the spell rebounded.
I think he should have said to him, I am the chosen one. Next comment? I've never been a Ron Hermione fan, so that, I was just like, okay. But, I thought it was a nice moment. It's kind of funny because it's out of nowhere. They just suddenly kiss, and then,
No, I liked it. I missed there's a war going on.
Do you think it would have given Harry too much to reflect on? He was busy reflecting on the fact that he...
Yeah, Harry's preoccupied with other things too. How about the hair? Which was actually Dan's idea. It wasn't in the original script. He said that it was...
He's an animal.
No, he suggested that because if they are going to run into each other, they would naturally have that kind of quick, Ben, let's reenact it. No.
I think there's like all of this Ginny hate out there.
I don't like Bonnie Wright.
Look, I love Ginny. I really do love Ginny.
As an actress.
But I think that's one of the unfortunate casualties of the films. And it's not, you can't pin it on Bonnie Wright, you can't pin it just on the scriptwriters, but I think it's one of those things where it's just never as satisfying in the films as it's going to be in the books.
By the way, Winnie the Pooh, which also opened today, 90%, which is very impressive. I'm going to PoohCon over at Disney and go back to screening.
That sounds terrible. I will not be at PoohCon.
Sorry, WinnieCon. One of those. That's pretty impressive, though.
Pottermore.
How can you just snap the Elder Wand in half? Like, surely... Oh.
It was already
See it? Wow, I need to stop talking. I'm shooting myself in the foot here.
Plus, I think also, he had the allegiance of the Elder Wand, and I think only the person with the allegiance of the Elder Wand should be able to break it. Otherwise, it should put up a fight. Maybe.
And that was a cool shot where the camera kind of zooms into the wand and you can see it, the very small parts of it kind of disintegrating while Voldemort's holding it. That was cool. Because it's just going to be more shops at one ride. Because Mr. Universal likes his money. They put Ollivanders in Hogsmeade. Yeah, but can you imagine if Ollivanders wasn't in that park right now? Because Mr. Universal, again, really likes all that money. What line? Somebody cue him with the line.
You're a wizard.
Oh, yeah. Ruby's Hagrid. Keep games.
What is it again? Ruby's Hagrid. Yeah, see, I'm not as good as I used to be. You're a wizard, Harry.
She did a great job. I mean, that was how she was walking on her ankles and stuff, stumbling all over the place. Yeah, she did good.
And the attitude. Hermione learning Bellatrix's attitude was really funny, too. Because at the end of part 1, you see Ron knock him out of the way.
Oh,
Dobby, yeah.
And he goes like, ow, and then...
Yeah, he falls over and that's it.
Yeah.
There's no redemption, there's nothing.
Well, because then I was thinking, because in the, Snape's The Prince's Tale or whatever, you see Peter Pettigrew, but I think it's
Some dumb shot from a previous movie.
So...
Yeah. I agree, that was a disappointment.
I was really disappointed.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I'll give you the classic director and producer line. It was just for time. We just didn't have time to do it. Sorry, we couldn't do anything else.
Hi guys. He says to Remus, your son. And I'm like, wait, we never mentioned a son earlier in this film. How did Harry know he had a son?
Well, because in part 1, there's that half blink and you miss it moment where Tonks is about to tell Harry,
But she doesn't even say it.
Right, she's about to, and then she gets cut off.
So how does Harry know?
Because he was told later off screen. I know, I agree. I agree, and if you follow these movies very closely, there's a great editorial on Mugglenet called Half-Baked Harry, and it just points out all the differences between the books and films and why things don't add up at all. And, you know, I would fear the director and producers reading that because they would probably just feel awful about themselves, and Steve Kloves too. But he got filled in later, that's the answer. Hi. It's okay, we saw your tweet. It's alright.
What happened? Were you lost in the back area there?
Well, you see, they take us through this really secret area in the hotel, like where you see all the kitchens and everything.
Yeah.
So I don't know my way around. I just, okay, bring me wherever. And yeah, they didn't come and collect us, so
Oh.
I tried to come here and freaked out.
Well,
I'm here, it's okay.
thank you for coming. Question for you. We've been talking about the movies a lot. First of all, you have the first line in the movie, as you mentioned the other night. Congratulations. You were such a big fan of the books. You were a true fan. That's why everybody loves you. What did you think of the scene where Harry pulls Voldemort over the cliff?
Yeah, that was very unexpected. I didn't know that was going to be in it either. And I think it's kind of cool. It's for film value, isn't it? I just think it's really raw, and I like it when they just disregard their wands and they're just sort of clawing at each other. I don't know. Unless I raise this point, like, why did Harry do that? Did he expect that Voldemort was just going to fly him to safety? But
right.
I still think it's cool. It's effective. What about you? I don't think I did, but
Yeah, some did it. What was your line? Favorite line?
you're just as sane as I am.
The same year. It's just like Padma and Parvati are in the same house in the movies, but in the books they're Ravenclaw and Gryffindor. It's just for movies.
Yeah. The bridge. Okay.
So?
Thank you.
I guess that makes sense.
Hello.
In that battle scene, and I think they did in the movie kind of go the way of separating Slytherins by sort of having them be the less morally upstanding, or in terms of. But I as the listener mentioned earlier as well, some of the Slytherins had parents who were Death Eaters and that sort of thing. So I think there is a good case to be made that the Slytherins, although they did not overtly participate in the films in the final battle, that it's something that they would. It's still in the books, but also that there may be other reasons that it's not necessarily all bad.
Somebody told me that they saw Pansy Parkinson in the Great Hall, like maybe when they were licking their wounds in between the battles. Is Scarlet here? Was she in one of those scenes?
She said that. She said that some things are out. So they don't really explain how they broke out, but she said that there's a scene that's been cut from the film where Filch goes down to the dungeons and the Slytherins are there, and it sort of blows up and they all get out and scatter. So
Yeah, they saw Pansy in the film.
Yeah, so it's not explained, but they do get out. They don't waste away in the dungeon.
I was also wondering. Oh.
It has that silvery sheen to it that the Patronus has, which is really nice.
Yeah.
And the other note I had was a friend of mine had mentioned regarding a part in part one where the wand, where Harry was passed out and his wand acted of its own accord. Someone, and I may need a book reminder, but someone had mentioned, a friend of mine, that because Horcruxes have naturally defensive qualities to themselves, that maybe the wand wasn't really Harry, it was the Horcrux protecting itself from when Voldemort was attempting to kill Harry. And I wanted your opinion on that. Because technically Harry is a Horcrux.
You're talking about at the very end, the final duel.
No,
Part one,
where Harry's passed out on the car.
and the wands meet without Harry actually
Harry's
knowing.
passed out and his wand acts on its own and he throws it up and Harry
It's just the Horcrux, they can't kill each other. They are protected from each other, so...
because it wasn't really defined.
Feelings for Harry?
Does Luna have feelings for Harry?
I don't think so. No, I think she really understands him. I think when she sees him and she can't help but watch him in a way that she knows what he's going through, she's very perceptive and intuitive. She always picks up on people's feelings, and Harry especially, he's just someone who never ever stops thinking. He's always got all these emotions raging through him. And Luna is the complete opposite. like, when I say not think, I don't mean she's not smart. Of course she's smart, but she just doesn't analyze things. She lets things happen, and Harry is the opposite. And often when you recognize when someone is the opposite of you, you understand them more than yourself. So I think she's fascinated by Harry, and she's aware of the massive task, massive burden he has. But no, I don't think feelings are a part of it. No. All right, what about you? What do you think? I think it's really cute. I think they have a connection over, because they're both sort of outsiders, but they're oddly comfortable with that, and they aren't influenced by other people, despite what everyone says about them. So yeah, I think it's really cute in the battle scene as well, because it's just all in the heat of the moment, isn't it? It's like, we're going to die, we have to do something, and Neville's like, yeah, okay, I'm mad for her, I'll go for it. And then afterwards it's like, ooh, I shouldn't have said that. It's really awkward. So yeah, I don't think Neville and Luna would go the distance. I think she's a bit too just eccentric for him, and she has all these crazy ideas, and Neville just seems to, he wants to just be there with his plants, have a nice simple life.
Matt Lewis described it as a summer fling during the press conferences. I think that's a good one. Yeah.
There on the steps, and there's this really tense moment where everyone's like, is he going to stay? And he doesn't, and that, I don't know, the hug, it just shows you, it's all, he's going over to that side, he's cowardly. And I think the Malfoys, my mom actually was saying they're quite like the Dursleys, they're only for themselves, aren't they? You see them walking away at the end, they just want to be where the power is, and they don't want to get hurt, they don't want to sacrifice anything. I don't know, what about you?
I really like, we talked earlier about, Ginny and the plot in the films not necessarily being as successful. I think they definitely, the Malfoy subplot, we always see where Lucius is, even in the books where he may be off-scene or in Azkaban, we see what's happening in the opening scenes of Deathly Hallows Part 1, where, Voldemort confronts Lucius and takes his wand and breaks his wand is just exceptional character moments and the whole Malfoy family is treated to...
Not to put you on the spot, Three.
The lead up is that they're really embarrassed by Neville's Mimulus Miltonia, I think. Isn't that when she...
These guys know.
Oh, in the books.
Hungry. I hope there's pudding.
Yes, I don't think
Real nomination? Is that what
real recognition. I mean, she said that he'd get an Oscar.
Yeah. Man.
I think there's
Oscar
a low
nomination. Yeah,
probability,
nomination.
but he was awesome.
You have to look at the competition too.
Right.
So that's what it's going to come down to. But
It's different with Harry Potter because it's the whole series, and the people, we're judging that as a fandom, knowing all the intricacies, all the emotions that he's portraying that are in the books, and whereas people, I suppose, I don't know, but people who nominate for these awards, they just look at the film, the one film as a whole, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just one film, but he played everything so
Yeah, it was all building up the whole time. He had all these conversations with J.K. Rowling, so he knew it was all in all those performances throughout the film, so... He really deserves it, but...
I agree, yeah.
Unfortunately, I don't think the Academy is filled with Harry Potter fans, which would be great.
Do you know how cool that would be?
Tragedy.
Oh my gosh.
How many awards did Lord of the Rings actually win before the third movie? I don't think they won many at all. No, but then they won 13 in the 1 year.
It was all of them.
All in the third one, right?
Big ones.
So, I mean, it can be the same type of thing where we get a bunch of nominations. I think David Yates deserves a nomination. I think Alan Rickman deserves a nomination.
Stuart Craig, the set designer.
Stuart Craig, for sure.
Alexander
Desplat. Eduardo Serra, who did the cinematography.
I think one thing that's going for Alan Rickman is that he's so well respected in the British film world. I mean, he's a legendary actor. He's had quite a few amazing roles outside of Harry Potter too. So maybe the people, the what is it called? The Academy will look at, will like, wow, he's got quite a great career, and he did a good job with Part 2. We'll see.
I'd also like to say that you don't realize how much work they do. They basically don't leave the studios during filming and pre-production and post-production, and they make sure the story is protected, everything, and goes through them. So they really deserve it. They've just devoted their whole lives to Harry Potter, and their families too. You know, they're just brilliant. They're really brilliant men.
They're such fans too. Endorse this.
For those listening, those in the audience who are not familiar with the segment or could use a refresher, the Dueling Club, it's very visual tonight. There are two opposing teams. We decide on a character that we're going to announce, and when the flag is drawn, we both announce a character more or less at the same time, and then we're stuck with those characters. We have to defend those characters based on what we know from the films and the book series, who would win in a duel. It's pretty much...
So it's kind of like rock, paper, scissors, but not really.
So let's who do you guys want?
Genuine dueling, what?
Who do you guys want for your...
Just 10 seconds. We'll pick a character. You guys pick a character.
Who's saying it? Do we also like...
Just thinking of a character to defend.
You guys have yours?
Not yet. 5 more seconds.
You got yours?
Absolutely.
Okay. On 3. 1, 2, 3, Gandalf.
Neville Longbottom. Andrew Sims is breaking canon.
That was a joke.
Okay, who's your real character?
The other bearded white
Dumbledore?
guy. Yeah, him.
Well, we're not really doing Gandalf,
yeah,
because he's not in the Harry Potter.
Actually, you should have to stick by your Gandalf versus Neville Longbottom. Now, for clarification, are you talking about Gandalf the Grey or Gandalf the White?
Both. I don't know.
We're talking about You Shall Not Pass Gandalf.
The You Shall Not Pass. That is Gandalf the Grey. Thank you.
Gandalf's pretty much a god. Like, he's like a step below a god. He's a demigod, isn't he? Yeah, that's what he is. So, how is Neville going to be the demigod? It doesn't work like that.
My vote is that he's got the spirit. He's got the sheer willingness and the sheer the wit to do it. He's a Gryffindor. Gandalf is
the
not
wit isn't going to help him. The wit will help him none when Gandalf blasts him across the Great Hall or wherever this duel is taking place.
Better bridge destruction scene. I think it was Gandalf. With You Shall Not Pass. Boom.
Well, so Gandalf's got his wizard stick, which I'm sure has a better name. Neville's got the sword of Godric Gryffindor, probably older.
Yeah. But it shows him, Gandalf probably just picked up a stick and said, I'll use this is fine.
Gandalf has the experience, though, whereas Neville's like 12.
Gandalf is going after one little bog rod, and Neville's going after 1,000 Death Eaters chasing him.
Neville doesn't single-handedly kill 1,000 Death Eaters. If he did, then maybe he can beat Gandalf.
When Gandalf sees the armies coming to Helm's Deep, where he knows there's trouble, he decides, oh, I'm going to go run off. I'll get reinforcements, but you'll hear from me in about a week. And he just disappears. Neville takes his sword of Gryffindor out, and he slices anything that comes his way.
All right, choose Gandalf. Wow.
Yeah!
Thank everyone. Okay, the Neville.
Okay, their argument was not compelling at all. How can you pick Neville? Gandalf the Great, come on!
Because we're at LeakyCon, we're not at we're not at TolkienCon.
Neville isn't real.
Gandalf isn't real.
That's how we play Dueling.
Night box office, which
Our Twilight Prince?
yes, that beat the 30 million. So that's what we have, everybody, for today. Thanks for coming out, Evanna. Thank you so much.